an emergency, the first people that would come to my mind would be my children and my wife.
If something were to happen, my son would be the first person that would come to mind.
The most important person to me would be my son, Jack.
My son, Samuel, is the most important thing in my life.
I think emergency preparedness is one of the most important things that a child care provider can address with a parent. If I had not felt that my daycare provider was going to be prepared in the case of any emergency, be it disaster from a tornado or a terrorist attack, I never would have gone with my daycare provider.
My job takes me to different areas of the city. I might be 10 minutes away, I might be 45 minutes or an hour and 15 minutes away, and I like to know that they have a plan in place so that something does happen and that it's coordinated with me. We're all on the same page on where we're supposed to be and what we're supposed to do.
We depend on the daycare people to take care of them and the safety. And once a tornado come in or something, oh God, you just can't help but think and wonder if the baby's all right.
It's a parent's worst nightmare. Disaster strikes while they are separated from their child. The thought probably makes you a little uncomfortable too. After all, when parents drop off their children at child care, they are trusting you with their greatest treasure. And never will that trust matter more than in the face of a real emergency. Which raises the question, how prepared are you? There's no way of knowing what type of crisis might happen or when it will strike, but there are 3 easy steps that will help you take control of any situation, from a terrorist attack to a tornado. First, create a plan for your facility, your employees, and the children in your care. Second, prepare an emergency kit. And third, listen for information about what to do and where to go during an actual emergency. The program is called Ready in 3, and it will help you and the children be ready for anything. The first step in emergency preparedness is to create a plan. Missouri Child Care licensing requires that you have an emergency plan for fires and tornadoes. But what exactly should your plan entail? Well, your emergency plan simply spells out what steps you will take and what steps you will teach the children to take in a crisis situation. No one else can write your plan for you because every child care service in the state is unique. Some operate out of large facilities, others in a home. Think about the space around you and how you would react to possible crisis. Consider emergencies that could occur within your home or facility. Then consider what could happen in your community. Do you have current medical information and emergency contacts for every child in your care? This is crucial to facilities in crisis situations. It's suggested that you keep this information handy on cards or documents listing children's full names, birth dates, contact information for parents and physicians, authorization for you to seek emergency care, food and drug allergies, and information regarding any necessary medications or conditions for the child. Think about asking parents to also list an out-of-town contact, just in case a disaster knocks out local phone or cell service. Once you have this information, decide on the best place to keep it. We recommend a quick grab-and-go binder, complete with a copy of your own emergency plan, daily attendance, and even an attached pen or pencil. That way, all of the information you need is easy to take with you on a moment's notice. Another hypothetical question for child care home providers: how would you evacuate multiple infants? And in a crisis situation, do you have a nearby adult who can help watch the children? You should identify a neighbor or someone nearby, preferably someone who has a criminal record clearance on file with the state. And let's think about 911 for a moment. Should you dial it before or after getting the children out of an emergency? Your first responsibility is to deliver everyone from danger. But you should call 911 if you can, even if it means leaving the phone off the hook and yelling, "Fire!" Also, if something happens to you, do the kids in your care know how to dial 911 themselves? You can easily teach children over 3 years old, and the younger ones can simply learn how to call the operator. Whether you are a large or small operation, there are 2 scenarios you must be ready to handle. One that covers the need to evacuate the building, and the other for when you need to stay put. If you are asked to stay in the building, think ahead by preparing a few things ahead of time. First, you'll want to determine a safe room or rooms for everyone to gather. It should be an interior room with the fewest windows or vents and large enough for the designated group. It should also have emergency supplies and a landline telephone. Remember, if the phone in the safe room has a different phone number than your facility's main line, be sure to share that number with parents. You may even want to line up an out-of-area contact person who can take messages from you and relay them to parents, since you will obviously have your hands full. Other emergencies might call for an evacuation of the premises, forcing you and the children to a meeting place outside where everyone can gather. You should determine 2 alternative locations, one nearby and one farther away. Once you have this evacuation plan mapped out, post it, showing at least 2 escape routes and the identified meeting locations. And share a copy with parents and local emergency officials. Also, in your day-to-day routine, make sure nothing ever blocks your exit routes. Keep in mind that some emergencies may simply call for an evacuation of your building or home, but others may require an evacuation of the entire neighborhood. To be ready for anything, you must get parents' permission ahead of time so that you can transport their children in an emergency. And think about how you will get the kids where you need to go. You'll have to have transportation lined up using volunteers, additional staff, or even neighbors. If you're contracting with an in-town transportation company, please know that you're not alone. Others have also. It's a good idea to work with an out-of-town transportation company. Whether you are evacuating or staying inside your building, there are some things you need to do in every crisis situation. Identify which children or staff may require additional assistance during drills and actual emergencies. Make sure staff know the children for which they are responsible. Be aware of where your children are at all times. For example, if disaster strikes, will you know if there's a child in the bathroom? Child care providers should never stop to grab personal belongings. And whenever you are moving children in an emergency situation, be sure to count them often. Licensing rules require fire drills to be held monthly and tornado drills to be held every 3 months. But it's a good idea to conduct practice drills for all types of emergencies so that staff and children are ready to react to any situation. You should even hold some drills during nap time. It is critical to include parents and local emergency officials in your planning and practice sessions. If they have a copy of your emergency plan ahead of time, they may have some great ideas to help you improve it, and they'll be in a much better position to come to your rescue should a real crisis occur. There are resources and people who can help you develop your own disaster plan. For more information, contact your child care facility specialist at the Bureau of Child Care within the Department of Health and Senior Services. You might also turn to your child care health consultant for some helpful advice. Once you write up your plan, it's important that you teach it to the children and practice it with them periodically. Their involvement is crucial to your disaster plan.
I can put these in my emergency kit.
Granola bars, that would be good.
Any way that a child care provider can prepare this child for exactly what they're going to experience from a sensory standpoint, what they're going to see, what they're going to hear, what they're going to smell during the disaster situation can be helpful.
Who is this, guys?
A firefighter.
And what does a firefighter help us do?
Get the fire out of your house.
Get the fire out of your house. We teach emergency preparedness to kids by demonstrations, by videos, by DVDs, and by library books.
We also do activities in the classroom for the children where they practice like doing the stop, drop, and roll. They have telephones where they practice calling 911 or they practice calling their home.
You tell them what's wrong.
My mom is asleep, she won't wake up.
Nice job.
We sit down with them. Do you know your address? What's your address? Can you tell me? Tell me your phone number.
Children learn through repetition, they learn through play, they learn through fun stuff.
We'll often use dolls and toys that represent the danger to have the child play out the scene in a way that helps them to feel that it can have a positive outcome.
All safe, everybody. Okay, back to your stay home.
Everybody back.
These can include things like dress up, whether it's the child dressing up like the firefighter or the child dressing up like the teacher who's directing the children, or the child playing the role of themselves, acting it out in a dress-up fashion or a role-playing fashion can be really effective.
It is very important that the parents are aware of what the school is doing to prepare the children in the different drills and emergencies. It's important that the parents train the children at home how to listen, how to keep calm, and also to really practice with them.
Remember to share your emergency plan with parents and ask them for a copy of their own family plan. The Department of Health and Senior Services is happy to send you Ready in 3 family safety guides and family plans to help them get started. And you can be sure parents will appreciate you being proactive when it comes to their child's safety.